welcome to the 237th edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Bruckert. I'm coming to you live here today from Casa de Bruckert, where we're going to be start drinking the 2021 German Beer Advent Calendar, which I'm very, very excited for every year when we do this. So today we're going to be starting off with this fine beer, the day number one of the Advent Calendar, the Grantler Hell. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's got this great little Bavarian man on there. And he looks a little unhappy. I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but he looks a little bit unhappy. Because what Grantler means in German is it means grumpy man. So this is also known as the Grumpy Man Helles. So let's go ahead and open this and talk about it. Like I said, for those who aren't familiar with the Advent Calendar, there's 24 days with 24 16.9 ounce beers from all over Germany, all small breweries, private breweries that do not ship to the United States. So the only way that you can get these beers is to get the Advent Calendar from Costco. So let's go ahead and pour this here and let's see if we can't kind of evaluate it. Not a lot of ratings on this one, just because I think it's new to the Advent Calendar this year. But this looks like a perfect Helles style beer just from appearances, okay? So you're getting like the golden straw-like color, okay? Get a perfect 1-inch head, which is slowly dissipating. So that's kind of right on. So now what do you typically get from a Helles beer, okay? Typically what you'll get is similar to a lager, but typically will have a little bit sweeter taste than a typical lager. And also usually kind of finishes off with some hops, not like overly hoppy. As a matter of fact, most people wouldn't even notice the hops, but it kind of finishes with some of those good light German hops, which kind of balances it off so it's not like overly sweet. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Now, one thing I want to tell you before we get started, this is from the oldest, and I mean oldest, private brewery in the world. The brewery dates back to 1132. So that makes it the oldest private brewery in the world. So very exciting stuff. We're having a beer from the oldest brewery in the world, private brewery in the world. So let's go ahead and smell it. So what I'm getting right off the bat, I'm getting like a malty, the typical malty flavors, almost like a bread-like smell. And then I'm getting a sweetness, which I was kind of expecting a little bit of that sweetness in the smell. But it doesn't seem overly sweet. It seems like it's got a nice balance in there. So let us waste no time. Let's go ahead and dig in to the first beer of the 2021 Advent Calendar. I'm very excited. I look forward to this all year. This is kind of one of my big deal things here, and this is very exciting. So let's go ahead and dig into it. This is one I have not had. This has never been in the calendar before that I remember, unless they changed their packaging. So I'm quite excited about it. So let's go ahead and dig in. Oh, such an outstanding beer. I mean, phenomenal. I love it. And I love a good Helles, so it doesn't surprise me that I love this beer. But this beer is extra delicious on top of that. I mean, besides even being a good Helles, there's just something about it. It's kind of light, yet it's got that sweetness, but not overly sweet. It's just something I would consider just a drinkable, delicious beer. I mean, spot on 4.8% alcohol by volume, so you could drink several of them and still be fine. So it's not too boozy, but it's not too light. Now, Helles can range in alcohol percentages. This is one of the lower Helleses that I think I've drank. I mean, I drank Helleses that will go up to like almost 14%. But this obviously is not one of those, and those are typically not German because the Germans don't usually get alcohol contents to that extent. Usually, with a German-style beer, you're usually not going to be over 6 or 7% alcohol by volume. Okay, but I've had Helleses from other regions, the Swiss, Austria, that do make a stronger version of the Helles, but they're delicious. So anyway, what makes up this beer? The only thing that this beer is water, barley, malts, and hops. Okay, 4 ingredients that comprise most all beers, unless they add the adjuncts to it or the additional things. So that's all that makes up most of the beers that we're going to be having in the Advent calendar. The wheat beers, obviously, a little bit different, but they're going to be, wheat as opposed to the malty. So like I said, I couldn't really get a rating on this. Average ratings of people who have rated this beer, I think it was like a 3.89 out of 5, which makes it, obviously a great beer. And I would definitely agree with that, a 3.89 or better. And what you'll find if you do get the Advent calendar is most every beer in here, and I'm not saying most every beer in here is delicious in its own way. Now, there's a beer in here, a smoked beer. I'm typically not a smoked beer fan, but I can appreciate the smoked beer that's in this pack because it's a lighter smoked beer. It's not like super heavy smoked. It's a real light beer. Probably not something I would go out and order, but I can certainly appreciate it. So there's even stouts in the pack, which is not typically a German thing. You don't see a lot of German stouts. And even an IPA, which, again, not as common. But what you will see a lot of in here is Hefeweizens, Dunkels, Helles, Pilsners. All the classic German styles are in here. And we're going to be having a great month of December all the way up through Christmas. Between drinking these great Christmas beers every day, and I got to drink one a day, every day up until Christmas. I have no problem with that. But I'm also going to be drinking some great Belgian beers, the Belgian Christmas beers. So between those two, I am set between now and the end of the year with nothing but the finest of beers. Now, if you've enjoyed this, make sure you tell your friends about Beer Issues and how much fun we're having talking about great beers and drinking great beers. If they want any cool Beer Issues gear for the holidays, make sure you go to shop.beerissues.com. You can get hats, t-shirts, phone cases, fanny packs, you name it. There's nothing you can't get with Beer Issues on it. And as my wife likes to say, I have beer issues.